name's Ian. I'm an alcoholic addict. I'd like to start this meeting with a moment of silence followed by the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I'd like to start out by reading how it works. This is a long one, so hold on. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful, which it is. Without help it is too much for us, but there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity, because I couldn't fix myself. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. I already did that. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Done. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 6. 7. Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people where possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. Having had a spiritual awakening of the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs, which is what I'm trying to do. That was 12. Help the world. Many of us exclaimed, "What an order! I can't go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter to the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A. That we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B. That probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C. That God could and would if you were sought. That is a long how it works. Everybody loves to read that one. It's fun. Let's see. Today is the 23rd. I pray that you now remove me from every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and to my fellows. Today the 24th? Shit, I don't know. Yeah, it's the 23rd. Alright, sorry, I'm dumb. I pray that you now remove me from every single defect of character which stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Having admitted my powerless and made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understand him, I don't decide which defects get removed, or the order in which defects get removed, or the time frame in which they get removed. I ask God to decide which defects stand in the way of my usefulness to him and to others, and then I humbly ask him to remove them. My name's Ian. I'm an alcoholic addict, and I'm grateful to have this little phone and the Holy YouTube thing. It's fun. Um, but my defects of character and removing them. I still have defects of character. I will always have defects of character. I want them to go away, but really, there's nothing I can do about them unless I pray for those defects of character to go away. Ask God, give them to God. Um, they won't go away if I just hold on to them. And this is what's wrong with me. I realize there's something wrong in my life. I mean, I just thumbed through the book and I was reading part of the first 164 pages, and I realized, I remembered why I grabbed on to Alcoholics Anonymous. I was in jail, and I went to a meeting, and there was my aunt's ex-husband's dad there doing the meeting, and it was one of the first meetings I ever went to with open ears. Instead of first meeting I went to, I was like, my name's Ian, I'm not an alcoholic, and everyone gasps, and then, everyone's like, and I was, yeah, I'm an alcoholic, I don't know, and anyway, that was one of my defects of character that I had to ask God to remove when I was done with AA on 9509. I asked God, I'm done. I had to ask him to help me quit drinking. I had to get down on my knees and beg and plead that I needed help. And I admitted that I was powerless over alcohol, which was the first step. But, it's suggested because it works. And I've gone through the steps, and I work the steps in more than just one place in my life. And, it's hard to do it all the time. It's hard to admit you're wrong when you don't think you're wrong. I fight with my dad all the time, and, the more I admit that I'm wrong, the less wrong I become, because, it's not a huge fight where it's this big when it should only be about that big, and all I have to do is paint a spot about that big on the shop, and my dad would shut up and quit yelling at me. So, I have to ask God to remove those defects of character, because if I don't, even if I don't know what they are, something's going wrong, something in me is wrong if something's going wrong, and I have to ask him to help me level that out. And usually, if I ask him, what's going on wrong, he'll tell me, and then I actually have to do what he says and try to fix it myself a little bit, and realize and not hold on to the defect, and not be too stubborn and be stuck in my ways. And it just comes to pass when I let it go and move on and go through the steps again. And that's how I grow as a person, by letting these defects as they arise, and I realize them, to let go and let God, and change the things I can, and some things I can't, and I have to I don't know, ask God for forgiveness, and pray, and he decides who I am. I have very little input of who I am as a person. It's just, me, and however I'm useful for him. Uh, I hope that, I know God loves me, but, sometimes it's just weird to understand who you are in this world, and why you're not perfect. And I see everybody else, and I'm like, damn, that person's perfect, or whatever. Why ain't I perfect? And I gotta work the steps on that too. They're not perfect, and I know that. It's just, it's all fucked up. The whole thing is crazy, and I don't know how to explain how great this gift has been to get sober and to have the friends that I have and to be able to have a place in life. You know, that's what I was really looking for. And people accept me in this group. And, you know, I get to become a new person, and I'm no longer afraid of change. You know, I embrace it, and I do the best I can while I'm embracing it because it's hard to go through change. And, you know, I'm an Ian. I'm an Ian. I'm an alcoholic, and my name is Ian.